I had that other one turned on. Careful.
What? I can't see
Let me see
myself.
now. Hang on. Here we go. Stream manager.
Why can I not see myself?
We are live. Okay. There's that. Okay.
Daddy,
There's
did you
that.
pause it?
Okay. We're good. We're freaking good.
Daddy,
Oh,
did you pause?
gosh. That was so close. Here we go. Let me get the Facebook going.
Let's stop.
And go live. There we go. It's up. We're good. We're good. We're good.
We're so good.
So good. I was kind of scared there. I was like, what the heck is happening? Why isn't it? And I think I knew why it was because I had another thing turned on for TikTok. And I was going to, I remember us talking last week that we were going to hook up TikTok so we can go live on TikTok.
Did we do it?
No, I haven't gotten the info.
You want me to get it?
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll be able to add it right now. Just because
We could do it.
You want to do it real quick?
Gotta wait till Kaylee gets home to get the password.
That's the thing.
Oh wait, she just used the passwords that we have.
Oh,
Email
the
and
normal
password.
ones?
Everything. I'm pretty sure.
I thought she sent it in a chat, didn't she?
Let me look.
Roxy! Golly. We got a guy putting in our smart lights today.
Oh my god.
Can I sit in the bathroom?
You want to sit on my lap? Why?
What do you mean, smart lights?
It comes with our security system.
How much is that?
See,
Hello, Scarlett.
I
that's not his name, but okay. I'm sorry.
How much is that gonna run you?
Oh, jeez. It's about I think it's like $100 a month. It's about $100 a month. You kill you.
How much until it's paid off?
I think it's about a year. We get 4 cameras. Oh gosh. Gotta love it. Let me remind you that we are live right now.
Oh,
so
my daughter, I promise. I promise.
Okay, Rousey, just go lay down. Jeez, as soon as you just get started, it's everybody wants everything from you now.
Gosh, dude,
It's like that's
you guys
just
freaking
how it is, dude.
finance everything.
Oh gosh, tell me about it, dude.
Gosh.
It's the last thing we're freaking financing. Promise you that.
Yeah, it's gonna take you a year to pay it off.
Yeah, man. This is. Can we make this whole episode of us just playing with Legos? Let's maybe, dude. This is what we got to do for an episode. Okay, we get a Lego set. We just put the Lego set together. I think that would be. I think that would be a great episode. I don't know. What the heck? Why?
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Hey, baby, when you talk like that, you make a woman go mad. Oh, you know what I have to do?
Oh no! I just saw a potential secret invasion post-credit scene.
Oh gosh, dude.
Oh no!
Oh, dude, you know we should also get our freaking video.
So what's the news on Lewis? Is he coming on or what?
I don't think so. I told him, and I actually haven't checked our Insta to see if he has. He might be mad at us.
Sorry, Lewis.
Yeah, he hasn't responded. Okay, dude. Okay. You know what? Instead of I wanted to for this podcast. I kind of wanted because we are going over Barbie and Oppenheimer or Barbenheimer thingy. What do you say about having another special guest on with a different perspective on Barbie?
Today?
How do you feel about that?
Um,
I mean, it's your show, so you are the one that kind of gets to decide that.
say hi. Let's go around instead of trying to break my nose.
It's up to you, man. What do you want to do?
Can you give me the initials of the person?
SD. Hang on. Let me send you a message in the.
Depends on who it is.
Oh yeah, it's SM. My bad. Up to you. It's kind of a big deal, just because she would have a different perspective than all of us, than both of us. Because I was thinking about just taking the different perspective on this one today than what we are used to. But if I think it'd be nice to have somebody who actually genuinely thinks that. It's up to you. I don't know. Oh, geez, man. No comment. Nothing. Got nothing to say.
Let me just tell you something, man. I didn't get a single friggin' message from you, so I don't know who you're talking about.
I put it in the chat in Riverside. Check that.
Let me see.
It's up to you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. It truly is up to you, you know. Dude, we got 3 viewers right now. Oh, never mind. We
Oh
had 3
no.
viewers. What do you want, dude? You want in or what?
I mean, I don't know.
It's up to you. It's your show today.
It's just so horrible, man.
I know. She's
so
the
bad.
worst. I don't want her on, but she asked, and I have to. You know what I mean? I have to.
I mean, hmm, I really got to think about it.
Okay, yeah,
We
totally.
should have a cameo. Did she see it?
Yeah, she saw it.
But she loved it.
Yeah, she had different views. I called her up after I saw it because I wanted her perspective as a woman. That's the thing with Barb. I mean, okay, if you're watching this and you're trying to understand what we're talking about, today, obviously, you saw the title. It's Barbenheimer. We're talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer. I don't know if she saw Oppenheimer, but the main thing I think we do want to talk about today is Barbie because we very much disagreed with what we saw. We didn't really like what we saw. I mean, you'll like when we get into the review, you understand what we're talking about. But
Yeah, she can come on. I don't care.
you wanted to come on?
I've got nothing planned for a special guest, so sure.
Yeah, but you're fine with that. If I sent her an invite as a guest, let me.
Oh gosh.
Let's email. Okay, I'm gonna send it to her email, and then hopefully, I think she'll jump on. Here, if it comes on. Okay. All right. Let me send the invite. What blizzard did you get?
Strawberry, chocolate,
Wow.
covered strawberry.
You know, you really just are killing this potty, dude. Right
We
now,
got 5 people watching on Facebook.
it's lit, as the kids
Okay,
would
so
say.
we gotta get back to our conversation. All right,
Oh, the big convo.
the big combo that everybody's been wanting
Okay.
to hear about.
All right, go ahead. What were you saying before? Because you were
So
making a
if
point.
you guys don't remember, Regan and I have been arguing for a long time
Big time.
as to we've been arguing about the boundary waters and a cruise, and Regan thinks that boundary waters is harder to plan for than the cruise. And all I've said is I don't think that it's harder to plan. And Regan's finally now realizing is I'm not advocating that the cruise is harder, but the fact that it's as hard as you want it to be is what it is. Because from the beginning, Regan, on a couple episodes ago, he was talking about how
That was a couple.
that's not the boundary waters. It's not the boundary waters. And I made the statement that this is how you grew up doing the boundary waters, but that doesn't mean that's the only way to do boundary waters. And so, come to further my point, I found out that you can have a guided access to the boundary waters for someone who will plan out the boundary waters experience for you. So you don't really have to do anything.
But
They
my
just do
point,
it all for you.
Okay, but my point in that is that that furthers and supports my claim
That it's harder.
that it's harder to yes,
How is that harder if you could just pay to have
because
somebody do it for
your
you?
whole thing was before was that it was easier, and that's what we were talking. Heimer, King of Fromm and Shin. Oh, King of I always mixed up his stuff. King of Ramen Shin. Because the point was what I was arguing before was that you were saying that it was easier and you weren't oh Kaylee, thanks for the heart. And that and you didn't
Sorry,
disagree with
restate
that
that?
until now.
Say that again.
I was telling you when we were talking before was that you were advocating that it was easier to go to the on a cruise until just recently. You would, if you go back and you look, that is what you were advocating for, and I would say that, and then you wouldn't disagree or anything like that. So that made me believe that that's what you were advocating for. But now you've come on today and said that's not what I was advocating for. What I've been advocating for is that it's harder to plan.
It's as hard as you make it. It's as hard as you make it.
It's as hard as you make it.
And either or could be harder than the other, depending on how hard you make it.
Yeah. Now that's my point though, is that before that's what I was advocating for, is that
this is such
my
a
point
deep
was-
dived argument that I don't think Regan understood from the beginning where my argument stood. He took it as a face black and white, but where I was leaning was the gray.
Well, the thing is that most of the world kind of like operates black and white. You know, I like to think of things more in black and white than just, there's just a little bit now. Everything, there's a little gray in that. There's a little gray in that.
Now that we learned that there's guided tours for the
But that proves my point more, because that tells you that, okay, if somebody is actually going to plan the trip for you, that makes it a lot easier for you, which is what a cruise does. And a cruise is just somebody that plans all the events
Nope.
for you.
that's not true.
That's exactly true.
No, there's a
Yes.
route of calling in and the people plan it for you, or you plan it all yourself.
Well,
Just
if
'cause
you
you
go
get
on
on
a
the- just 'cause
cruise,
you
you
get on a
have to.
cruise-
Yes, you do have. They have planned events for you on a cruise. Do they
But
not?
you have to choose
They-
what planned events you have to
Right.
do.
But for when
Right.
you're going
Just
to the
like-
boundary
Just like
waters,
the boundary
you don't.
waters.
Just
like
if
the
you're
boundary
depending
waters.
on what you're doing now, is because now you're saying that if you go through a event team that plans your whole itinerary, which basically is what a cruise ship people do for you. They plan everything, and then you can do whatever you want,
To
but you
buy
can
a
choose
cruise,
that.
correct. You can choose to call
But
in.
my point is that if
and
you
get it all
decide
planned
to
for you.
actually go without itinerary, it's a lot more difficult than to go with that itinerary compared to a cruise ship.
But that's what I'm advocating for, is that it's as hard as you want it to be. You can make a cruise hard by not calling in to have the guy do it all for you.
What do you? Yeah, itineraries all the way. It's so much easier. Isaac,
Trevor has no idea. First off,
that's Isaac.
Trevor doesn't. King of Ramen Shin?
No, on Facebook, Isaac Evanson says itineraries all the way. Because my boy Isaac knows how it is. Do you remember Isaac, Matt? Oh, my boy Isaac. I haven't seen this guy in forever. I miss him.
Hold up. What did he say?
He said
Itineraries all
yes.
the way.
Because itineraries
but
are
what
a
does he
lot
say?
easier to follow because you don't, because
Yeah, you could get an itinerary freaking made for you at the Boundary Waters. What are you
Yes.
talking about?
but
Regan spent
you're supposed to keep that down. You weren't supposed to tell anyone that, Isaac. Well, hang on. Let me talk.
Look at this.
Serious trapping. No. But the thing is, that's the Boundary Waters. Is the Boundary Waters is basically. Thanks, Isaac. I miss you, man. I miss you, Isaac. I miss you so much. But the Boundary Waters is basically, I mean, not everybody does the itinerary thing. They make their own. They do their own thing. They don't go through this whole thing of the jumping through hoops of, or not even jumping through hoops. You're
Of
jumping
what?
through hoops to get to the Boundary Waters. When you're going to on a cruise, there's really no hoops. Really, the only hard hoop you have to jump through is to get to the boat.
So
And
what
then
do you
after
do?
that, it's easy. But the
Yeah,
Boundary
once you
Waters
find your
is
camp spot-
every
Once you get to your camp spot, it's easy.
no, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, you have to make a fire. When you have to make a fire in a cruise, do you know how difficult it is to make a
making
fire?
Fire is so hard.
Yeah.
Oh
Have
my
you ever
gosh.
made a fire? From
Yes, I
scratch?
have.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
I
know
have.
it's not the easiest.
Yes, it is.
No,
if
it's
you know
not.
how to do it,
Okay, then tell me, what is it?
you start off with Tinder. Okay, you start off with Tinder.
Okay, so you
can
brought some
either go
Tinder, so
from
you
a-
had to think about that.
Oh no, I had to think about Tinder.
Yeah, well, you got to think
bring-
about these
or
things.
you bring a freaking match because you know you're going to the Boundary Waters. Boom, there's your
Okay.
fire.
Yeah,
Go camping at the Look at that guy. See, he gets a hotel room.
my wife just went camping at the Hilton this weekend. Loved it. Yeah, it was Hilton. Couldn't
Why did she
believe
go
it.
to the Hilton?
I don't know.
What did she need to go to Hilton for?
I don't know. But that's my point, is that it's a lot easier to sleep
Or
in
I
a
just
nice
pay, or I just pay the guy to make my convenience easier. You think it's
but that's
the same
thing
price?
no, that's not the
it's the
Boundary
same
Waters.
price.
Boundary Waters isn't just
No,
throwing money
This is
at
where my
things.
black and white. This is where my black and white idea
So
comes
many
into
people
play.
would disagree with this.
Is a lot of people would disagree with it. So don't people disagree with slavery? People disagree with masculinity. People disagree with religion. Everybody disagrees with everything. There's
Yes, but the
something that
majority
you
would
can't
disagree with what
plead-
you're saying.
No,
About
that
from
is not
Minnesota.
true.
Yes,
That is not true. You want to know why it's not true? Because you can't
I've asked
prove that.
so
fact.
many people.
You cannot prove that fact. Which is
I've
why.
asked so many people about this
Oh
from
no.
Minnesota.
Oh, you've asked so many people.
Isaac's from
What's
Minnesota.
more black
Isaac,
and white than what's more black and white than an itinerary? Thank you. Easy.
yeah, exactly.
You don't get an itinerary for the freaking cruise.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. You've never
Yes,
been
you-
on a cruise.
Oh my gosh.
Kaylee,
yes,
do you get
do
an
get
itinerary for a cruise?
You can't even hear her.
Kaylee? She's purposely not trying to answer.
Exactly, because she knows that.
No,
Because
because
that
she
she
doesn't like
knows
arguing.
she's. That's the thing. You
No,
always bring
because
your
she just
wife
doesn't
into
like
it because
arguing.
you know she's going to agree with everything
she's
that you
been
say.
on a cruise.
No, because
she's been on a
she's going. No,
cruise.
because you know she's going to agree with everything
Because-
that you say. The thing is with Jesse,
She's typing.
we
She's
knew-
typing. She's typed.
Where? Same with a cruise. You have to decide how many days you are on a cruise plan. Your plane trip. Make sure it doesn't get delayed, so you make your check-in time at the cruise. Hold on.
Oh!
I don't agree with half the things. I've never seen you disagree with Matt.
She does
So
disagree with
that-
a lot of what I said.
No, she doesn't. I've never
She
seen
does.
it. She every time you always
We
like.
just had an argument about
"Golly!"
politics.
No, I didn't even get a read. It's delayed, so you make your check-in time at your cruise. You then have to book your excursions, which they book out. So they plan that. Yes, so they have an itinerary.
Nope.
Have to plan and book. And the meal plan? No, you don't have to plan your meals.
You do.
No, you don't. It's a
Yes,
you
you
just
do.
say standard. You what
You can't
meal-
just go in and eat at the
I
table.
literally called them on air and they said that you can do that. That's
You
literally
but-
we're on air. You
I've
know that that's
cruised,
what they
You
said.
haven't cruised.
You
That's
know
why I
that.
told you.
I said
That
that
is why I
so many
told you.
times.
Yes, and you asked him the question, what's easier, a cruise or camping? And the guy said, well, of course the cruise.
Yeah,
He's in
exactly.
sales. He thought you were a
So
customer.
you're telling me I should never yes, plan equals itinerary. Thank you,
Okay,
Isaac.
good. So your plan for camping is an itinerary. Boom.
Yes, because you have to make that. For the cruise, they make that plan for you.
No, they don't. That's
Yes,
what I'm
they
trying to tell
do.
you. They don't. We had to go in. What about driving to Shorts? I was on your side about that, Regan. Exactly.
She is not, because I
Yes,
was
she
the one
was.
speaking out.
No.
She
Yes, she
barely
was.
said anything.
Yes, she did.
I think Kaylee's just scared to go against what you have to say.
No, she's not scared. We had
I
a
think
whole
so.
argument about politics the other day.
About what? What was the politics?
That she hates politics and she doesn't want to talk to me about politics. So we had an argument about why we should talk about this. We did.
About why you
She
got to
just-
talk about politics?
About we should. Exactly. Yeah. Like, we should all, I think every couple should talk about political views because you guys should be equally yoked.
Well, I think it's more religion. I think is more important than politics.
Well, politics are a part of religion.
I mean, it should shape your
Jesus
political
was a-
view. Yes,
Jesus was a politician.
not really, but I mean,
He was. He had
I mean,
had
I
his
understand
agenda
what
he
you're
wanted
saying.
to push.
Because religion was very part of the politics back in the Roman days. So yeah, he kind of
To
had
us,
to
it doesn't
be.
seem like politics, but it is.
Was that?
It was to us. It wasn't. It's not like a political thing that Jesus was, but he was a political.
He was a political figure
leader.
for sure. Yeah, he was a political
And-
figure. I agree. Because I mean, he
But
had
we
to
also,
be. But I
like we were
think he
talking about, like
cared more-
abortion, for an example. Like, why? I hate politics. New convo. You're losing people on this. No, actually, a
Oh.
lot of people like talking about politics, Kaylee. That's the problem. You're actually the one off.
Seriously, Kaylee. Jeez.
She is. She doesn't realize it, but the world is revolved around this stuff.
Yeah, I think a
Um,
lot of people are just they aren't willing to talk about politics anymore because they're afraid to step on people's toes.
I mean, I think people talk about politics more than ever before.
Yeah, but I think you more talk about politics with people with like-minded minds,
Yeah,
Not-
not against.
not against people with different
I mean,
viewpoints.
If you don't like politics, Kaylee, this is probably not the best show for you to
This
watch.
this is not the best.
because
Yeah.
we're about to talk about Barbie, which is
Mhm.
filled of political views.
Oh boy, gonna be a good old potty tonight, dude. Good old freaking potty.
Crazy.
I'm more curious though to see what Jesse's view is, because I know he has more of a.
I don't think you saw it.
There's no, yeah. we filled his messages up, today, dude. We filled those messages up.
My freaking throat.
But I'll leave. People are afraid to be challenged and potentially pushed back against. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, people are. That's also in religion. And you're
Yeah, why people
you're
don't
sharing
like
the
talking-
gospel. People are
Yeah.
scared of being challenged in their faith. People are scared to be challenged in the sin that they live in. So it's literally the same thing.
Yeah,
But
I-
if you do call yourself a Christian, then your political views should reflect your
Yeah.
biblical views as well.
right, because politics are bringing in your morality, and
Yep.
that's really religion. What religion is showing what morality do you stand by? I mean, everybody gets the be nice to each other and everything, but what is truly love, I guess, is
Yeah.
more so kind of the.
I'd argue truly loving somebody is telling them that they're wrong.
Oh, 100%. Ah, yeah.
Love the
See,
politics
see, Isaac,
Exactly.
my guy, my Isaac,
Yeah.
my guy, Isaac. Oh boy. I think-
Yeah. I wonder what side he's on. Hope he's not on the right.
Frick, dude. Oh, jeez, I have no
Hope he's
idea.
not on the right.
He. Dude, let's go. I love
I'm
it.
listening,
We're gaining tractions. Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
Gosh.
Oh, see, there she is. Everyone, welcome the special guest. Let me make sure that your camera is right this time,
What do you mean it's
Oh.
right?
because last time your camera was horrible.
Your camera was doggy, dude.
It was trash.
so bad.
Maybe
Okay.
Sierra, because this
You know
is
what?
this
I'm
is
offended.
if you guys haven't been watching, you might know Sierra from previous episode of the interview, where we interviewed Sierra for the big job. And we've had a few of the interviewers on a couple times. Nick, to be for example, was on for a brief moment. But I thought, well, with what we're talking about today, I think it's appropriate to have a woman on. And Matt was okay with this. It is Matt's show today.
It's our
Oh,
show.
really?
It is our show, but
Oh,
Matthew
congrats.
is the host today.
Yeah.
He's hosting it.
Yeah. So what we do, Sierra, like we swap off every other week. he'll lead it, then I lead it, then
Oh, I get you.
he'll lead it, kind of like a a thing, I guess. I don't know. One of those things, So we
Sorry, what was that?
he just we just swap off every once in a while.
Sure. Have you
guys
ever?
are, what you call maybe swingers or something?
Are you?
What?
Could be like, no, not swingers.
No, like my question though is to Sierra for the listeners that are listening in. Like, how good are you jerking it?
I'm really glad you asked me that because I think, watching your podcast, I think it really, I want to just promote that women can jerk off too. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
not-
we've never had a woman do a jerk off with us.
I especially am good at, like, I can definitely beat you guys.
I mean,
in the jerk
would
off.
your husband? I mean, how would he say like how good you are at jerking it off? How are you gonna? Have you guys done a jerk off?
Well, I mean, it's me running the show,
Yeah,
so it's just me. He doesn't really.
he doesn't like jerking it
He
off.
doesn't like to jerk off. No, it's just me. I guess, yeah, he more of judges me. Like when I jerk off.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I jerk
I've
off
met him.
myself, not like I don't.
You
Yeah.
guys, you guys don't like jerk it together or anything like that?
It's so weird, man. That's I can't.
My
Why
wife
don't
and
you
I
guys
jerk
just
all the
jerk
time.
it off together, man?
You know,
Seriously.
I don't know how to answer that. To be honest,
Wow. Well,
ask him. I guess.
you're.
guess.
I don't know.
You guys ever thought about potentially just jerking together? Like you
You
should
know,
just like
We've
one day
I've
go-
tried to get him to do that, like maybe at weddings, but he
Mhm.
won't even do it there. So
Not
Regan
even
and
like
I
in the
prayed.
bathroom, like in privacy.
wait, not in privacy, not in public.
Mm.
Hmm.
Matthew and I jerk each other.
Regan and I jerked.
I mean,
We jerked yesterday, or when he was at my house the other day.
yeah,
We jerked off.
Oh,
there, the movie theater.
true friendship. And the
Yep.
movie theater. Wow,
It's
you just go up there in the front
It's
and
something
just
that
show
not
everyone.
a lot of people will do in public. It's
Does
normally
anyone
like
join your
I think
jerk off?
I mean okay,
in
so
public?
we're gonna have it
Axel
live on
joined
air.
our-
We're gonna do it live on air right now.
Axel joined the jerk off.
You want
Don't
my
bring the
7-year-old
children
to
into this.
join in? Let me get some. This is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna have our first ever.
Wait, I think Isaac doesn't know what we're.
Yeah, that's
referring
what I'm
to.
saying. Yeah, well, that's a lot of people are trying to understand what we're
Oh,
talking
can you
about.
kind of explain it to him really quick, Regan?
Me? Why explain it when we can just show everyone kind of what the greatest jerk off is.
Oh.
Let me
We gotta
Get it.
okay, here I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully
Okay.
copyright does not flag us here. And we're going to get the jerk off going here.
do copyright,
Wow.
free copyright music, stuff that's not copyrighted, but non-copyright,
No copyright.
no copyright. Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Isaac said he's
Um,
scared. I don't know why though.
Don't worry.
Bass drop. It's always
Okay,
good to have
here we
music
go.
to your jerk off.
It's really good to stand up, bend your knees,
Here I
and
go.
get your arms
Yo,
involved. Isaac, you ready? You got to turn it up,
Get
Regan.
ready.
We can't hear it.
Oh jeez. Yep. Get that beat. Get the beat. And the beat. Oh yeah. I'm jerking it. The freaking jerk off. Oh. Oh.
Freaking jerk
You
it so
feeling
fast,
it.
man.
I'm really feeling it now. Wow. Are you feeling it? The first ever multi-sex
The annual jerk off.
Wow. Co-ed.
jerk off, co-edited. Yeah, Isaac.
Oh,
Good
he
to
jerks
know.
off every day.
Get to know Isaac jerks off every day.
I didn't know that. He's a master of jerking it.
Dude, I love jerking it
Some
off.
good exercise, I tell
I
you what.
love jerking off.
I feel it, Mr. Krabs. I feel it, Mr. Krabs. I'm feeling it.
Oh, cramp. Oh gosh.
Excuse me.
I'm going to. I mean, right now you guys are listening to the pre-show. Every week, start at 8 p.m. If you aren't here, get here for
You're
pure content. The
Pure
greatest
content?
content.
Not very many people can say this, but we freaking jerked it on stream. Usually that's a issue to TOS.
Nothing better, man. Nothing freaking.
We're freaking
better.
jerking it to millions of people.
yeah.
right now. Basically, the whole
Million?
world is seeing us.
Well, it's out to the public, so
Could be millions at
it's
some
an
point.
opportunity. It's not like
Right,
there aren't
okay,
like
yeah.
a million people watching now, but
Yeah.
the opportunity is
But
there.
there's 5 people watching.
There's
There's
5
plenty.
people watching you jerk off.
We
That's
got
still a
at
lot.
least
yeah.
at least 7. I mean, who knows?
Well, ladies
mean-
and
You
gentlemen,
know what? Probably my husband's in the other room watching us jerk
Oh.
off too.
oh,
He probably ask him. Can you ask him if he liked it or?
Hey, Nate. I think he's a little shy.
Yeah, he's probably a
Yeah.
little shy.
I wouldn't
He
blame
did
him.
just watch us, go pretty hard. So
It's,
I mean, all
a-
three of us?
it's an experience.
We're pretty shy too.
I mean, we're pretty good at jerking it, And
Yeah, I
Sarah,
learned.
you're a natural.
But yeah, I like to say it's in my genes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Siri,
pretty
I
good
like
genes
that thing
going
that you
today.
did with your. I like that thing you did with your hand when you were.
Yeah, it's a
Jerking
new
it.
thing. I saw
You know what I mean?
online. It's a new thing that the kids are
Oh,
doing.
you're looking online tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
For your
the
jerk
thing
off.
is with jerking it, you gotta, get up new things,
Keep with the
find
times,
the
yeah.
new things. So
Yeah.
Because if not, it just
Keep it-
gets. You just get a
keep it
stale
fresh.
jerk. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
Yeah.
You get a stale jerk. You
And
can't
then,
stale
and
jerk
then you
it.
kind of just go limp,
Yeah.
you know?
100%,
It's not,
100%. Well,
Been there, done that.
I bet you have.
Siri, please. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. This week we do have a special guest, Sierra M. And if you guys haven't noticed, she, we don't know what to expect with Sierra this episode, but she's here. Can't really do anything about it.
Represent the women in this community.
Nobody likes women. Everybody knows that. If
Well,
you,
Yeah.
and I,
if you
yeah, I
ever,
represent
if you,
that.
Women are freaking brainwashed. Let's just be real. They're brainwashed. Like we control them.
Did you watch Barbie?
Brainwashed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude our pre-show. We're going to freaking get this thing rolling. Follow us on our Spotify, Apple podcasts if you're on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
We do this every Monday,
Every
8
Monday,
p.m.
baby.
to 8:30ish, depending on the topic. Last week we went till 8:45.
Oh, jeez,
We'll see you. We'll see you next week for the freaking pre-show. We're gonna start this show here, coming in 3, 2,
Oh.
1. Roll the intro.
Greatest intro.
Welcome to the Goof and Goober Show. You decide who's the goof and who's the goober. Join Matthew and Regan as they talk all things from their own personal life questions to reviews on movies and TV shows. Now, your hosts, Regan and Matthew.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? It is episode number 27 of the Goof and Goober Show. I am joined here with two guests. One you might be familiar with, one that you it was like that, that weird girl you met at school. You remember her face, but she was in your math class, but you just don't remember her. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're in my math class.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one of those in the room. But before I
Mhm.
introduce her, Regan Dvorak, my co-host, my buddy, my pal, my brother. How are you doing?
Hey Matt, it's good to see you. It's good to have you here. It was a great, actually, you know what? That was the first intro where I don't think it was cut off by anything. That was probably the best intro we've ever had. If you're not watching it live on Monday, 8 p.m., you're kind of a loser. Not to be like go at you or anything like that, but like yeah, I didn't want to say it, but somebody had to say it.
I condone some of it, so yes.
Screw you.
And in the left corner, the person we completely forgot about, but we know that she was here at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We have got Sierra Maddock coming in to join the
Hey.
group. What up?
Hey, everybody.
Sierra, I've got a couple quick questions for you before
Hey,
we
go
get
for it.
going. First things first, what is your favorite movie of all time? Why is it your favorite movie of all time? And if you could go back and play one character from history, what would it be and why?
Well, my favorite movie of all time would probably be Wayne's World. It's my
Wayne's World, party time, excellent.
Excellent.
sorry.
I really like it because it's got, some good funny bits in it. Some good under the surface stuff that you maybe you don't catch the first time and you got to rewatch it. Good to watch the underlying things, and it's a great story of just underdogs. Am I right? Everybody loves a good underdog.
What's the underdog?
Yeah.
Who's the underdog?
Wayne.
Oh.
From Wayne's World.
Oh. Interesting.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No,
Interesting.
it kind of sounds lame to me.
Character.
But if I could play any character, I would probably play, if it were possible, if like maybe roles were reversed or something like that, I would do Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I feel like that would be a really fun role.
Why would you say it's a fun role? Do you like Chicago for a reason?
I like having fun.
So you
Something
like,
weird
you
about
think-
me.
You think
I really
Chicago's
like having
fun?
Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be in Chicago.
Well, the whole thing of Ferris Bueller is
You know what? And
set
it's gonna
in Chicago.
Be, it's gonna be a production, so
and
it's gonna be
if
roped
I'm
off.
not,
No one's
if,
gonna be in
if I'm not mistaken as
there.
well, Wayne's World was shot in Illinois as well. Where is he located in?
Hey, I was just answering your
Aurora?
question. I didn't really think I was going to be judged for
Illinois?
it.
Huh.
So,
yeah, she really likes
I kind of
Chicago
am a
for
guest.
some reason.
Why do you like Chicago so much?
I am a guest on this show, and I feel like I'm being judged.
Sounds like
Oh.
you got some
TBH.
problems.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you're gonna be
how do you
judged.
think we feel? Friggin'
You're gonna be-
jerking it in the pre-show.
Oh gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to see a girl,
You
Friggin'
want to
jerking
see
it.
a
With
multi-sex
the boys.
jerk off? You get
Yeah.
just watch
Go
the
to the
pre-show.
pre-show,
Be
alright?
here on friggin' Mondays,
We
man.
got a triple jerk today. We jerked it hard. Oh, 4.
Have we ever?
Isaac
done-
friggin' jerked it too in the chat.
That's true. He
says,
he
"Way to
go,
told us
Isaac.
he jerks at
Represent.
go,
he jerks off every day. Specifically, I mean, quote word for word. He said, "I jerk off every day," and that's word for word.
Wow.
And props to him.
Himself? Just by
That's
himself?
a lot. That is a lot of work.
We
I'm not
didn't
gonna
ask
lie.
that far.
That's a lot of work.
It
Not
takes a
gonna
lot
lie.
out of you to jerk it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Like I'm not gonna be able to jerk it tomorrow for sure. 100%.
I gotta take probably a week off. That
Probably
was
take a week,
hard.
yeah.
That was a hard
Yeah.
one.
Maybe next Monday we'll jerk it again together.
Wow.
We'll see.
I could do it every day.
Oh. Whoa.
I got a high tolerance for that stuff, I'm always wanting to do it. Am I right?
Not all
Am
I
heroes
right,
are
ladies?
created.
I bet.
That's
I bet a lot of
exactly
people
right,
come
Isaac.
and watch you jerk off then every day. I mean, you could probably make
Think-
a lot of money.
I open
watching
my
doing
window
that.
so everybody can see.
They come
Wow.
right here to jerk it off.
There's a construction crew right across the street. So
Isaac, you're right. Not all
love
heroes
it.
wear capes, and you're the greatest hero. If I could be a superhero, I'd want to be Isaac Evanson.
Mm.
Ugh.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our show today is not to talk a lot about jerking it off, as we did in the pre-show. This is your reminder that if you're not doing anything Mondays at 8 p.m., we have a pre-show. Come listen to it. Come have fun. That's where the boys become men and the women become women, ladies. And
Mhm.
we just have a
Girls
really good time.
yeah.
And yeah, come Mondays. If you're new to the podcast, thank you. Welcome. If you are returning, leave us a like, share our stuff, subscribe on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Apple Podcast. Leave us some comments. Let us know what we're doing well at and what we're not doing well at. We'd love some freaking
Ooh.
criticism. We would like to know what we're doing good
asking
and
for
bad
it.
at.
We haven't
Yep.
gotten any criticism yet. None.
Yep, we haven't gotten
whatsoever.
any criticism yet. So
Pretty
we
much
would
means
like
you're perfect.
we would like if you have any problems with what we're talking about, we would like to understand. We take criticism very, very well, and we are very coachable. So leave that down below. Today, we'll be freaking talking about Barbenheimer. Yes, you heard it here, folks. Regan and I. Oh, Isaac's grabbing a pen. He's grabbing a freaking pen right now.
Oh,
Regan
good.
and I went to go see Oppenheimer and
Mhm.
Barbie this weekend.
Oh gosh.
And let me tell you what, just right off the rip, this is going to be a very mixed conversation. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. There might be some arguments. There might be some jawing, some
Maybe some tears too. Maybe.
Maybe some read between the lines.
There's going to be some read between the lines and a frick yous and the go jerk off. And
Mhm.
we're all here for it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. But the beauty of the Goof and Goober show is we want to give you transparency. We want to tell you how we feel. And we also want to hear what other people feel about it. And we want you guys along. So down below, leave your comments on what you felt about Barbie and Oppenheimer. Leave it down in the comments. We'll discuss it. We'll chat with you guys. We do respond to every comment. So
We do. We truly do.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, since we have Sierra Maddock here, I think it would be best if we had a quick conversation about the old movie Barbie. And before we get into any spoilers of the movie, right now is your spoiler warning. Go watch the movies. If you don't care about watching the movies and you don't care about spoilers, it's fine. You can stay. But if you do, go friggin' watch it and come back and have a conversation because we're going to talk all the friggin' spoilers about Barbie and Oppenheimer starting now. I don't want to have to wait anymore on spoilers. So, ready, on your marks, get set, go! Spoiler! 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 Spoiler warning!
It's spoiler time.
Spoiler!
It's spoiling time.
We spoil the world.
Mm.
That was your spoiler warning.
What
Merry
was
Christmas.
that? Oh my gosh.
It was your spoiler warning. We wanted to give him a spoiler warning.
That's our spoiler
Um,
warning.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna talk about some Barbie, and we're gonna freaking hit the nail on the head. Sierra, I don't really have any questions for you because I didn't know you were coming on today. So we're just gonna go off the rip. I'm gonna say what I feel, and you can
Go for it.
comment. Regan can say how he feels. For me, no wait. You know what? Since you're the guest, why don't you go first?
And a
Go
lady, mind you.
And you're a lady. Go ahead.
Gosh.
Okay, well, I think I know that it's probably a different view than you guys, but I think it was a great movie. I loved the movie. I mean, I think there were maybe, I don't know, I think the movie was just a movie. I think
Right.
there might have been some, could have been taken as political and also could have been taken as not political at all. And it could have just been a good movie. And I think it was just a good movie.
If you
It
were
was really,
to,
really fun.
oh yeah,
And it was just, I don't know, I thought it was really fun, and then it was just kind of just an interesting movie.
Well, if you were to rate it, Sierra, out of 5, what would you give it?
Out of 5, 5 being the best, right?
Yes, 5
Yeah,
being
5
the
being
best.
the best.
I would say like a 3.6.
Whoa. Okay.
3.6. So it wasn't like super good. You didn't like love it. Love it.
No, I didn't love it. Like it wasn't like I'm probably gonna see it again, but it's definitely not one of those that it's like, oh, I can watch it whenever or whatever. You know, like I would definitely like I would watch it for Ryan Gosling again. I think he was super funny in the movie. I think I don't know, maybe in my house, like in watching it in my home versus a theater might have been different too, but
Mm.
it wasn't really pulling at like emotion strings for me. I felt like, I
Mhm.
mean, there was like, oh, that should have been sad or, you know, something like that, but it wasn't really like it didn't really catch those feelings for me, I guess.
And
Okay.
you were
So I just
you
thought it was more of a fun movie to watch and like there's like really funny parts of it that you can watch and
Mhm.
then like and then there's like some sort of, you know, emotion stuff too, but I thought it was overall just a funny movie, but
but
not like mainly
Mhm.
it was like an emotion filled
were
movie.
you a big Barbie girl growing up
Oh,
or
I was the biggest Barbie girl
okay,
growing up.
so my question then with that, since you were a big Barbie girl,
Yeah.
were there any references in there that you were like, "Oh yeah."
I feel like they had a lot of like clothing references and a lot of like old doll references. And
Yeah.
I think that was just past my time. And I think it was more of like something that like the directors maybe did research on. And it was kind of like, oh, what a cool fact that was. They actually did that. And it was kind of like a one-time thing that nobody really knew about. It was like, you know, I mean, like they said this, it was like discontinued after the first year or whatever. A lot of those dolls that they
Right.
mentioned, and so then it was like a pregnant doll or like Alan. Like I've never heard
Mhm.
of Alan, the Ken doll, or not a Ken doll, an Alan doll.
I don't think there
And
was there an Allen doll?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't into the boy dolls, just the girl dolls.
Cuz that was I
Alan.
thought
Yeah, he was
And then
like
the
the
pregnant
one-off weird
mom
one.
doll. I don't think. I mean, maybe I slightly remember the pregnant doll mom, but I don't really.
oh, I see. It is a
Mm. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah, all
I
of
thought
those
that
things
was a
are
joke.
real.
I
Alan equals
yeah.
Yeah.
nerd.
Yeah,
Or
totally.
like the sugar daddy one.
Yeah.
Was
That
there
was
So
funny,
yeah.
so I
but
really want to get to
I was like,
the
oh,
issue of the movie, and I want to understand your point of the big issue for me. So
yeah.
as you know, I think you know, I have a child. I have a I have a daughter.
Yes, I do know that.
Um,
Yes.
I know you know that. I was just kidding. I have a 2-year-old daughter, almost. And for me, when I think of Barbie, I'm thinking, okay, this is a good kids movie that, it's going to have fun. It's going to have quirkiness to it. It's going to be goofy. But then when you get into the movie, this is not a kids movie at all.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah.
Not like for me as a dad, right? Like when she gets older, this is a movie that I probably won't take her to.
Right.
A, because of the message, but also because of some of the humor just isn't something I want my child to be exposed to. As a
Hmm.
24, 5-year-old, I don't know how old you are. As a woman of your age, being that you
Hmm.
grew up with Barbies, now you're seeing a movie where they're trying to depict the Barbie itself. How do you see this impacting like the younger generation? Like, is this something that you would recommend for young girls to try to chase after or try to model their life after? Or, I really want to understand your thoughts here.
No, I don't think I think I went in knowing that it wasn't a kids movie too, just from like the previews. I think like the jokes that they had in the previews, and I think I saw like Margot Robbie in an interview say that like, oh, this movie is for everyone, but I would not at all say that. I mean, they bleeped the swear word, but they had a swear word in it, and then just like crude, humor.
Mhm.
Crude, is that the word?
Yeah.
Is that like
Yeah,
okay?
something
Yeah.
like that.
I'm using it right. Um, I don't. I you know. So one, wouldn't recommend it for kids. Two, for like the whole like Barbie recommend, like, are you asking about like recommending like Barbies as toys for little kids or
I'm talking about solely the movie itself, because
Mm.
because I think we all can agree that Barbies in and of itself have not been a problem in
Mhm.
society, right? Like it doesn't, it's a toy, but then you have
Right.
a movie that's depicting the toy.
Yeah.
It almost draws that line of like, obviously we're Christians, right? So like
Mhm.
we have to draw a line between what we expose our children to, and I know you don't have a kid, maybe not yet, unless, yeah, I don't know, but there's things that you have to expose, you can should expose your children to, and you shouldn't expose your children to, just based
Mhm.
off of that fact. And so the reason why, and I'll just give you my rating, from a movie's perspective, I actually don't think we're that far off. I think
Mhm.
I would give it a 2.5 overall. 2.5, mostly leaning on the actors and the cinematic experience in and of itself. Ryan
Right.
Gosling absolutely crushed it. Margot
Yeah.
Robbie
Mhm.
absolutely crushed it. All
Right.
of the Kens absolutely crushed it, and made me believe that this was like, hey, this is a Barbie world. This is a Barbie world.
Mhm.
They made it believable, and they made it fun to watch at certain points. But the problem that I have is, as a father, this movie really hit on a lot of toxic masculinity being a big driving factor for the plot of this movie,
Mhm.
where a lot of what happened in this movie doesn't actually translate to the real world, unless
Right.
it's like a one-off scenario, but it's painting it as a picture that this happens all the time. And it
Mm.
and maybe sending a kid, like a young kid, to this movie would implant that type of belief in men, where men, generally speaking, don't do what happened in the movie, if that makes sense. Like I use this as an example, is the scene where Ken, I don't know how to differentiate. I'll say Ryan Gosling,
Yeah, go ahead.
because there's so many
That makes
Kens.
sense.
Ryan
The Ken.
Gosling, the Ken, Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, they skate. They first get to California, then they meet up,
Mhm.
and the man, or they meet up with the construction people, and they meet up with a guy who slapped her in the butt, as we assumed, right? Like
Right.
that stuff doesn't happen in real
Right.
life. Like that, people just don't go up and hit people in the butt. Guys don't just walk up, or people just don't cat call women like that,
Right.
um, all the time, and it painted a
Right.
picture
Not as
that,
definitely not as much as they depict in the movie. Yeah.
right. And so we want, the reason why I bring this up, Regan sent me a video. This guy, this YouTuber, a guy from Barstool, basically was saying, if you were upset about some of the messages in the movie, you're basically you're not
You're
an
not an
adult. You're
adult.
you're a child,
Yeah.
Oh
basically,
yeah, I've
because
seen
you
that
feel
one.
that
Yep.
way. But
It's KFC.
I'm
Yep.
curious what your thoughts are, because do you feel, as a woman, does that depict what real life really is? And I think I know the answer. I don't think it is, but you can obviously explain. Do
Mhm.
you think that this is accurate depiction for young women to see and say, hey, in reality, holy crap, this happens to me all the time, but in reality, it doesn't? So I'm curious what
Mm.
your thoughts are on that whole thing.
Mhm. I think, you know, I think yeah, you're right. Like the movie definitely like, dramatizes it. It definitely doesn't happen like that. I think if it does happen, I've never been catcalled, but I've also lived in small towns my entire life. I lived in St. Paul for maybe a year, but I was inside the whole time.
Sure.
So I don't think like I guess like coming from my standpoint of a small town girl, like that's never been my experience, and I know that it does happen. I don't think it happens in the way that I think the movie depicts it as like it was like maybe like 10 years ago, maybe, you know. I think I do remember as a kid even being like um not
Well,
catcalled, but like
our,
definitely
our,
looked at. Even in a
our
small town, I like my dad was and I were like my dad and my sister and I were walking to the grocery store and my dad had to yell at a guy because he like looked at us from like our butts, kind of thing.
Hmm.
They're kids.
Sure.
And so like that I think, I think there is an issue of that. And I don't know if it's, just like my small town that it hasn't happened to me, or like or whatever. But I guess, yeah, I haven't experienced it. I think I think cities are a different thing as well. And I think, you know, to be wary of going into the city, knowing that it's kind of like there's some different people that are in a city, and that like might think like it's okay, to catcall a woman. I don't think it's as obviously as bad as what they're even near to as bad as what the movie depicted, though.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
actually as a kid that my mom got catcalled.
Yeah, my mom
we
would get
well, here's the
catcalled
truth,
too.
everyone. If you don't know, Sierra is actually my sister. Fun fact. Been
Sorry.
holding it back this whole time.
Oh, no.
So
Tried to be unbiased.
but Sierra, you are I mean, there's a lot to comment on that. First thing I want to say is I don't think it's because of what you look. I think you're absolutely beautiful. I think you know what? I think guys should catcall you. You know, I think no, I'm just kidding. But I do think times have changed a lot from when we were kids, and I don't think it
Mhm.
is as often as we would assume to say that it's happening. I've walked around the cities a lot. I've been around. I've never really seen anything like that nowadays.
Mhm.
Never really witnessed it or anything like that. Not saying like it doesn't happen, because I'm sure it does happen.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's not saying that, you know, but I think it's very a minor thing that is happening.
But
Uh,
I think we both agree that it happens, but I think the problem with this movie is that it victimizes the women in making it like a large point to the movie that women can't like. It's basically women versus men. That's what the whole movie is basically about. That's what it is.
mm,
And the divide between men and women, right?
yeah,
And
Mhm.
in reality is that like men want to be with women, and I think most men, you get some jerk offs, guys who
right.
freaking jerk it like Isaac all the time.
Beach off.
Yeah, the beach off guys,
I'll
exactly.
beat you off.
And they have a different viewing of what like society looks like for men and women. And I think this
Mhm.
movie, if as a father, I don't want my child to watch that, because I don't want her to feel like she's a victim because they over
Mhm.
dramatize situations that don't really happen that often. And I
Mm.
don't want my child to feel like she can't do anything because she's a woman. But this whole movie's like basically depicting that now that Barbie's in society or reality, now she can't be who she was back at Barbie Land, if
Mhm.
that makes sense, right? Like she was all
Yeah.
powerful with women, but now with men, she's not. When in reality, the reality of the situation is men and women are equal. And it comes down to it, hard work, dedication, not being victimized or victimizing yourself, and going after what you want to go after, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe it's my man opinion, my mansplaining, but I want to know
Well,
your thoughts on that after me stating that.
yeah, and I think like I guess in my perspective, I thought that like the whole like her going into the beach scene and going into California and all the catcalling and all this, it was kind of more to show just how different our world is than her world, and not necessarily like any, I don't know if there was necessarily a political, maybe like they made it purposely or accidentally, but I thought the purpose for it was just to show that there was a drastic difference from what she's used to than to what she's experiencing. Not necessarily like, oh, this is what the real world is, but because like same with like when Ken went into that office and was like, oh, what's this patriarchy or whatever, and like that guy is like, oh, well, we don't say it out loud anymore, kind of,
Yeah,
but it still happens or whatever. Like I felt like that would never be said ever said. I mean,
I
maybe
will
from
say
a
this:
really
men
radical
don't.
person, but it was just to point out just I think how different the two worlds are.
Sure. I will say, just so you women know, that us men, we don't talk about patriarchy. We don't even think about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Nothing. But that's where the movie also makes me fall, or makes me a little bit weary, is like, even Ken, for an example. And by the way, Ryan Gosling absolutely killed Ken in this
Oh my
movie. I
gosh.
think we all can agree with
Amazing.
that. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. He was great.
Superb.
Horses, 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 horses. But it also, obviously, the writing itself, when you go back and you think about how they wrote the story, why did they write the story the way it is? And like, the first thing that Ken sees is patriarchy. He sees, um, men rule the world, basically, and then it's depicted as
Mhm.
that's the fact, or that's reality of the situation. And it's kind of one of those things. It's like, that's kind of a, I don't know, maybe it's a dig at men, because I'm a man and I'm watching this movie, right? And the first thing that he wants to think about is, how can I basically rule Barbie Barbie World, or Barbie Land, or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
But in reality, like, that was never the case. You know what I mean? Like, that he never had thought about that before, but that's how reality is today for men, is that we don't think every single day, how do we rule Barbie Land, or how do we rule this society? How do we rule this? And it made it seem like that's the first thing men think about.
Yeah. I think for me, how I took it as like, I don't know, I felt like I related more to Ken, I guess, of like, oh, well, okay, not relate to Ken, but I kind of see where like this gender kind of norms are being seen more through Ken than through Barbie, I think.
Mhm.
Because he was in a world where he didn't have any power. Like, we don't even know where he, like, you know, he has a house kind of thing. And yeah, the world only revolves around Barbie, and that's it. And Ken is just there, kind of thing. And now when he gets in the real world, he realizes, oh, I have this option that I can have some power. And it was like, I think for me, it was like, oh, it's just as simple as like somebody asked for him for the time, and he was like, what a great honor, you know?
Is that how
And
women feel? Because I feel like Ken, and this is just my opinion, is
yeah.
that the roles kind of reversed in Barbie Land, if that makes sense. That's what they were
Hmm.
trying to depict. That
Right.
Barbie, the women were the men of
Yeah.
society, and Ken and women, or in the women, he plays that society in Barbie Land.
Right. Yeah.
If
And
that makes sense.
I think, like, to an extent, yeah, we do feel like that, of like, oh my gosh, like, we're actually seen from this other gender. And we have, I think we kind of maybe hold power towards, the men as well, because it's like, oh my gosh, like, they're actually talking to us, or oh my, like, I'm actually being recognized at work. I get stopped because, to just be at, like, somebody trusts me to ask me like the time, like, and not like, oh, I can't talk to them or whatever, or something like that. Like, I don't know, I think like, to an extent, that is true for women. But I mean, obviously, like, it's
Sure.
dramatized, like I said, it's,
Sure.
Yeah, I think it is for.
mixed in.
I think it is for sure dramatized, and I get that they're trying to make a joke out of it.
Dramatized, did you
What is
say?
it? What is it? Dramatized.
Dramatized.
Dramatized, dramatic,
Dramatized.
Dramatized. You're
dramatic,
Or
missing a letter.
dramatized.
drama.
Traumatized.
Dramatized.
Traumatized.
Traumatized.
Dramatize me, Captain.
Traumatized.
But like, I mean, they got a lot of like the history done, because you're led to believe that Ruth was the creator. Well, I guess she was the creator of Barbie, and
She was
that
the original creator.
she was the original
I
creator of
literally did
Mattel.
not see that coming, and I should have. I
And
don't know.
yeah, well, but the thing is like, it wasn't just Ruth; it was her and her husband Elliot, and Matson, and Harold Matt. So it's Ruth and Elliot Handler and Harold Matson. And I mean, the Barbie isn't what set them up. It was a Yucca Doodle, which is basically just a small little ukulele. And but like they
A
made it
smaller than a ukulele?
a child-sized
Oh.
instrument designed to make music more interactive and accessible. Apparently, that's what it is. But like that, they came in with the whole corporate thing, that whole corporate thing with Will Ferrell and all that stuff.
Oh, hilarious.
I mean, I haven't really been able to
So
get my
funny.
review on this. It's just been you and Matt
Oh,
going
so
off,
sorry.
and so screw you guys. But
The man
I
hasn't talked.
completely agree.
I love how
Screw you.
MSNBC they created an article for Barbie, and they said the article name is "Ken is a bell hooks critique come to life in Barbie."
What is
A-
bell hooked?
Bell
Yeah,
hooks.
What does that
Look it up.
mean?
bell
I'll
hooks.
read you the definition.
Okay, thank you. Because you find it funny somehow.
Yeah, it also says.
I'd like to share the humor.
It also says the caption is Ken's Barbie character parodies real world toxic masculinities.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys or Regan, but I ain't wearing no stupid fur coat and a headband just because of me being a man. Like
the
that's the
patriarchy.
dumbest thing ever.
No, but that's the thing. The
Real
funny
world
thing, I think
toxic mate.
the thing that's so ironic about Barbie is that the men are the one that saved the movie. They're the ones that made this movie so good. I'm not saying there
Yeah.
wasn't any like good women actor. I think Margaret Robbie was good, and then Kate McKinnon. I think she was hilarious. But other than
She's
that,
always
those
so
two,
funny.
though,
Mhm.
they weren't like as good as prominent as Ryan Gosling or Will Ferrell or Simu Liu or whatever that guy is named.
Oh, I definitely
Michael
think of
Cera.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Michael
but
Cera
that's
always makes his mark on things.
but the thing is like it's funny because they're trying to and I see it is that they're trying to crap on men because this is just a big anti-men
I don't think
movie. I
they're trying
feel
to.
like
Oh,
because I mean that's what I got out of it. If you look at the like if
Have you ever
look,
watched a movie where it's crapped on all women?
I mean the woman
I feel
who
like this is
made
the first
this,
movie I've ever watched where it's just crapping on men the entire time.
that's true. And
Wow.
it also is talking about all men want to do, like all you got to do is just ask them, am I doing this right? Or I have no idea how to edit this, Adobe Photoshop
that was
thing.
for a
And
doll, Regan. That was for a doll. Are you a doll?
a doll.
Yeah,
These
that's
dolls
a,
are
that's
being
a doll.
But this
the
is
dolls are being portrayed as reality in this movie.
that's what they're trying to show
No, they're
because
being
they're
portrayed in
bringing.
Barbie Land.
But
Barbie Land is what's the word? It's a utopia. It's the utopia that they wished.
because
the
if
world would
they
be is
if
what
they
they're-
had because they're
don't
saying
think
that
so.
it would be a perfect world if women were always like if they had all the control. If they had
That's
all the
literally what they
control,
said.
it would be perfect. We would have the perfect utopia. Girls would have, I mean, I do get no, that's the thing though. I do have to say and have to be honest because they were very honest that Ken was not happy. But it was not but it wasn't because of a system. It wasn't because of the whatever system they had in place. It was because he couldn't be with Barbie. And that's but the point of what I'm saying is that they're trying to say is men were trying to become the system. They were trying to run the government and Barbies were in charge of the government. But they said, no, if they get in charge of the government, then it's going to turn into the real world. It's going to be the crap world that the woman, what's her face?
America Ferrero.
Yeah, Gloria. It's going to be,
Goofball.
yeah. It's going to become the real world and you're going to hate yourself and you're going to have to fight everything. You're going to have to earn your way. You have to keep it the way it is.
Well, I think like one thing that we have talked about too is that the Barbie Land is kind of the inversion of kind of like the gender roles or, whatever it may be, over
Like-
here. And so for, it could be even supporting men in a way of like, because that's an inversion. And now it's like, oh no, women should, like in Barbie Land, it's saying like women should be where they're at. And because it's inversion, then wouldn't it be males should be in power?
What do you mean? Like
So we've said before like that. I
don't
thought we
understand.
maybe we didn't agree on this, but I it felt like we agreed on this that like in Barbie Land
Mhm.
seems like they're trying to depict that Ken over there is what women are over here, right?
In some ways, I don't necessarily agree with that because it's a
I'm not saying it's the correct, but I think like that's
it's
what they're
I
trying
don't
to
think
depict.
women are there, but I think that that's what they were trying to depict. That's
Yeah.
what
So I'm saying because of that, because they already just declared that it's an inversion because they were trying to make Ken the woman version. If women were to rule our world, wouldn't turn out great, right? But we do a slow process, right? Does that make
well
sense? Am I making sense at all? Do you guys get it? No.
I'm a little lost.
I think I am
Dang it.
like because are you trying to
I don't
say
see
that?
how.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I really don't see how any of the movie really puts men in the light.
Yeah.
Um,
Just that they're really funny.
except that
Sure,
they're really
and
funny,
good
but the
singer, and they have
actors
got
and good
freaking
singers.
rock hard abs.
And
Yeah.
freaking rock hard.
And
That's
they're
about
only
it.
good for being, a partner
Doing
to a woman.
stuff. I will. Well, let me.
Well,
Can I
not
also?
even a partner to a woman because, well, what I didn't like was the fact that it was supposed to be Ken and Barbie. Like that's why,
Mhm.
that's why Mattel made Ken is to have a partner for Barbie.
Right.
because
But now Barbie's pushing away Ken and
Mhm.
saying she doesn't need a man. Essentially, that's
Right.
what she's basically saying. She doesn't need a man, and she can run and do whatever she wants. She doesn't need a man to be with her, which
Yeah.
to some women that could be empowering. I feel, right? They feel, oh, I don't need a man. I could do this myself. But in reality, it's the coexistence of man and women that has gotten this world to where it is, which isn't perfect, but it was how
Mhm.
God designed the world to be is in conjunction with man and women. And there's movies clearly pushing that away at the end of the movie.
Mm. I felt like it was a little bit more, I don't know. Like it was kind of saying like, Ken, you can have your own dreams. Like you don't have to be just with Barbie kind of thing. I think there's a lot of people that, it's kind of touching on the basis. And I think we like in the Christian community for sure we struggle with this where we
Yeah.
find our identity in our relationship and that's it. And so I think one, that was a really good message, I think, was that like, hey, you need to find out like in order to have a good relationship, you need to know who you are before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the whole thing is about that is that, as a Christian, we also advocate for having a relationship, having a good relationship. And
We also don't
Like-
advocate for it. If you don't need it, then don't have it.
with Christ,
Oh, and with Christ, but I'm saying relationship as in like married couple kind of women and men
yeah,
relationship.
but like
I'm
I
talking
didn't
about that kind of
I think
relationship.
I agree with the premise that you cannot base yourself and your image or your life off of one person, one individual.
Mhm.
That would just be your everything, human wise.
Right.
I agree. But I think in a Christian perspective, we do base everything in our relationship with Christ.
Mhm.
If we want to bring in Christ, but I don't think what's her face who made this. What's her name? Greta
Greta
Gerwig.
Gerwig.
Greta Van Buren.
Yeah,
Why do you put in these extra like letters? Gerwig?
yeah, because it's fun, Sierra. This is a podcast that we're supposed to have
No,
fun on.
First off, Regan is the worst reader I have ever met. Okay, he is the worst.
My
reader.
son's better than me. Not gonna lie, I'm very impressed at how
Yeah.
fast he's
And
he's
he
got.
freaking told me
That's so
about the
good.
story for homeschooling that you guys did. Your mom would just skip the things
She
that
wouldn't skip it.
She
She
would
just
skip
wouldn't. She
things
wouldn't
that
She
were
wouldn't.
too easy or too
What?
hard. Excuse me.
No, I never said that. She wouldn't just. She would not
Uh-huh.
pay attention. She just would
Ooh.
like, oh, go read this, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to read it, and then she'd ask me, did you read it? I'm like, yep, and then she'd like, okay, and then wouldn't check.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's
lucky
skipping.
you.
But no,
Wow.
she
I
wouldn't
would
like she
be
would think that I actually did do it, but like she wouldn't oh, we're just gonna skip it. You made
Oh,
it
this
sound
is
like
too
she was gonna
hard. We'll skip over it.
like I would be like that. Ah, it's too hard. I don't want to read.
but
That's
then lie about it.
He's got
Yeah,
the
So
then I'd lie
you're
about it.
gonna blame
So
it on
then I'd
mom because you lied?
yeah.
Wow.
That's not Matthew's the one blaming it on mom here.
Oh, okay.
No, but like what I was saying, like I don't think Greta is. Well, I was reading a little bit about her. She did grow up Catholic, but I don't know.
No, I don't think it was a Christian
I
message.
don't
I'm
think
not
it's a
saying
Christian
yeah.
message. So that's the
Obviously,
No,
it
I
thing
was
just
with.
the
think like we
Christian
can still
message.
get a
Duh.
Christian
But
message
yeah,
from
and so
things.
that's what I'm trying to say is like, well, if we want to bring in Christianity, we can't really do that with this movie because
Well-
the person who made it isn't really a
What
Christian.
my thing
so.
was is
Mhm.
what my thing was is that basically all of these events happened when she was in the real world, and then she had the mother, the one that was paired with Barbie. She
Yep.
basically acknowledged and accepted and said, "Yep, that's the reality of the world that happens to all the time." That's where I have a problem. Is
Mm,
that dichotomy where she's not from from the reality, if you will, um, and now her advocate, which is her child that she played with, or she played with the
adult
Barbie,
that
the
played
adult,
with her,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean. Is now she's saying, well, is that how the real world really is? And now she's got this advocate who's like, yeah, happens all the time. I got to deal with it all the time. When it's like, when a little girl goes and sees that, like, because I've noticed Regan and I, because we go to Sierra. I don't know if you know this, but Regan and I go to a lot of freaking movies, and we watch a lot of freaking TV. So we analyze, like, we're analyzing things farther than a normal person would.
Mhm.
And we have to think about things a little bit farther than what I would before we started this podcast, because now we have to talk about the issues within this movie. And seeing a movie where it's advocating and saying, is this the reality? And then having someone say, yeah, it's the reality for a kids movie, when it's advertised as a PG-13, where, you know, there was a ton of little girls in that movie.
Oh yeah, I was
It was so many
like,
little
hey, you
girls.
guys shouldn't be here.
Yeah, you
But-
guys shouldn't be here. But
Yeah.
But that's
it's
what
having
And I
an
think, you know,
advocate for the
non-Christians
reality
even believe
saying,
that too. You know, I've heard like, you know, people that are not Christian also say like this is not a kids movie.
right.
oh yeah.
So I think
But
it's not.
you don't think that's dangerous for women? For them to go to a movie, watch a movie like that, and then be told that this is reality, and having an advocate in the movie basically say it is? Because that's how people think nowadays. Like, they watch
Yeah.
movies, they get their beliefs, some feelings from their movies because they see it in picture,
Mhm.
in story format.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said before, like this movie didn't bring up, I guess, like any emotions for me either. Like when America, the actress was, you know, going off about like, you know, all of the wrong things in our world or whatever. I completely zoned out because I didn't even listen to that. So I apologize for not having
Oh, no,
good
don't
content on
apologize.
that. However, I think, you know, too, like I don't know, like yeah, that's hard because I do think, you know, so especially like the younger generation definitely goes off of movies, and for sure I do too, you know, in little ways and bigger ways and, you know, whatever ways. Um However, this just didn't have that effect, I guess, on me. And I also think too, like, I mean, I guess I've seen the actress America in a lot of different shows and movies and things like that.
Mhm.
And she plays pretty much the same character every time, and that's her
Yeah.
character. You know, so I don't think for me, I guess, because I've seen her play that character, I guess, like so many times, it wasn't like, oh my gosh. It's just like, okay, like here we are again. And I don't think, again, I don't think it's true for everyone, but I don't think it's false for everyone too. Of that perspective, but I think it's getting smaller and smaller. Um because maybe because of the awareness, maybe because we're just getting better at as a society, or maybe we're going downhill. I don't know.
I think I don't know if you could say that, because I mean, if you are, I mean, this is a big movie right now. I think they've made what, 100 million. How much have they made? I mean, open or
Oppenheimer's, I think, made like over 100
I
million
know
now, but I
they've
don't know
done
about
better than
Barbie.
Oppenheimer so far.
Okay, yeah.
But we got to get onto that soon, because I mean, this is one of the big things we did want to talk about, but Oppenheimer is one of it's Barbenheimer,
Right.
Barbenheimer.
Well, did you guys see Barbie or Oppenheimer first?
Oppenheimer.
We saw Oppenheimer first.
So
I've heard that kind of can
Oppen
put Barbie as lower of like.
No, we
I
were
feel
actually
like
going to go
the
see
best-
Barbie first. But
Yeah, I think the best, lineup, if those of you who have not seen it, maybe you're not here because of the spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen it, see Barbie first and then Oppenheimer if you go see it based off of our warnings.
yeah, I mean, I always advocate you go watch it and make your own determination, but I'm going to give my personal opinion.
Right.
I think final thoughts is overall, I think it was a funny movie. We had some parts where it was really funny, and the message for me just didn't hit home for me. And it isn't something that I would recommend for any kid, and I think we all agree with that. It's not a kids movie by any means. Just a lot of crude jokes and things that
Mhm.
kids probably shouldn't be watching. But overall, I mean, again, I think it was funny at times. Just the message just wasn't there, and that's our personal opinions.
Yeah.
I
Like it wasn't really a message, it was just fun.
Yeah, I would say it is fun. Yeah, the message I didn't agree with, as well as I did get something I really now enjoy, and that's
Doesn't seem to matter what I
it. That song is now my new favorite song. I don't know what it is. Ryan Gosling
Is that
did
Ryan
it.
Gosling actually singing? Because
Yeah, it is Ryan Gosling.
Wow. Oh yeah, I forget that he was like a singer
He is such a talented individual. I don't know,
and a
but
dancer, I
dude,
think too. Oh my gosh.
I'm a big fan of Ryan Gosling, and
Have you guys
yeah,
seen like the little like when he was in dance class when he was like a little kid?
Oh
he
yeah,
killed it. He was
So
killing it.
cute. So
He killed
cute.
it so good.
Ugh.
Okay,
Oh, side note, because it is true. I feel like everybody should go see it. If you haven't seen Sound of Freedom either, go
Mhm.
watch Sound of Freedom. Talk
Do it.
about a message that actually means something and a message
Right.
that needs to be heard. If you don't
Mhm.
have any tickets, if finances are in the way, there are free tickets that you can get. We'll post a link down below where you can get the free tickets. We'll find it and give it to you guys.
Go see it,
But
Isaac.
talk about a movie with the message. We talked about
Yeah.
it last week. Definitely go see it.
Siri, have you
Child
seen it?
trafficking is a big problem.
No, we're
and
gonna go see it though.
God's children are not for sale.
Amen.
Let's just say
Yeah, I
that.
just saw a sidewalk chalk art in my neighborhood about stop sex traffic.
Ooh,
Stop and about it said God's children are not for sale.
God's children are not for sale.
So
They are.
Figured I'd throw that in there.
yeah.
You got
Ladies
to.
and gentlemen, that is concluding our Barbie chat. If you don't see it, I'll buy the ticket to. Oh, nice. Isaac said he'd buy a ticket to support. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, there should be no reason why you can't go.
He's
see
gonna
it.
buy a Barbie ticket for support.
No. Sound of Freedom. That's our Barbie talk. We're gonna be jumping into some Oppenheimer. And boy, oh boy, do we have a long freaking session to talk about with this movie.
Oh gosh.
Talk about a long 3-hour movie that was.
What
I don't know about you guys. This movie was like straight talking, and I don't know. It was super engaging the entire movie. Still, it was crazy. So we're gonna jump into that. Regan, give us your first thoughts on Oppenheimer?
Yeah, first thoughts of Oppenheimer, just filled with stars. Just you're going from scene to scene. You're like, wait, they have him. They got freaking Matt Damon, Josh Peck. You got freaking what's his name, Michael Angario, guys from Spider-Man. I don't know, just it kind of, the list just keeps going on and on. You're like, who else are they going to bring in? It was a kind of hard, like it is. You really have to focus in on this movie. Cillian Murphy, my guy, he is. But you really do have to focus in on this movie and like really pay attention to what they're saying. You can't just watch it and be like, okay, it's going good. Kind of like, I feel like if you I don't know. I feel like if you just watched it, you just would be bored and you fall asleep. But it's one of those movies that you really do need to pay attention because it's the historical event that's happening. So you kind of do need to keep up with what's going on and what's happening because there's parts where you really have to connect other things. But I like the movie. It was, when we were done, Matthew and I looked at each other. We kind of were like, what was the point of this? Like, why did they make this? And I think it's more because we had the last movie we saw was Sound of Freedom, and it, Sound of Freedom has so much moral and like big picture behind the story. But then you go to this and you're like, well, what the heck was this? The point of this? But I think
I'm glad I learned about it.
Right. I was like,
nothing I can really do.
It did make me kind of more like a pump for historical events. Like I should really get to know my history because I had no idea about Oppenheimer until now, and kind of makes me want to be more scientific, historical, scientific.
If you can say scientific, right?
Sounds
Scientific.
Screw you guys. I'm just trying to have a good time, and you guys are you can't even freaking take it. It's got Josh Peck in it, guys, from Drake and Josh.
Josh Peck? What? I didn't know he was acting
Oh, you haven't
still.
seen this year?
No, I haven't.
Let me just tell you
I'm
something.
just kidding.
Enough.
Don't quite align.
I agree with everything Regan said. I just want to hit again on the freaking actors part. Me and the freaking girl behind, like right next to me, literally every 2 seconds, all I hear is over to my right, and she's like saying the same thing. Can't believe this guy's in this movie. How is this guy in the movie? Oh my gosh, this guy's in the movie. And she's like, that's Rami Malek. And I'm like,
who the heck?
yeah, that's Rami Malek.
Rami
He's the guy.
Malek.
You don't know who Rami Malek is? He
I
played
mean,
all the little things. He was the main actor there. He played Freddie Mercury in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
Mhm.
He's a big actor. Like
He's olive skinned.
I was telling Regan in the middle of the movie.
Oh, Rami Malek.
Rami Malek. Yeah, I was telling Regan in the movie, how are these people gonna get paid? These are all big time actors. There's not going to be a budget to share.
I mean, 3 hours long, and they haven't really made as much even as Barbie, which is kind of crazy to me. And so, like, I agree. Like, how are they going to be making money off of this? I mean, they even got the guy from Santa Claus, freaking David Krumholtz.
Yes, Bernard. Bernard was in this movie.
Bernard was there, dude.
Bernard.
Santa Claus was there.
Santa Claus is coming to town. I don't know. And then, I mean, they got Casey Affleck. And
what about women? Am I right?
No, sorry.
There was some
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt was a big one.
Florence Pugh. Love
Florence
Pugh.
Huge. We freaking saw her freaking kahookoos.
Who's
like?
Oh, that's
boobies
right.
or
all straight boobies.
I forgot there's nudity in it.
Yeah, it was.
That's rated R.
Away,
not for children.
Not for children. Not for children.
Santa Claus.
When it happened, Regan and I like turned to each other. We're like,
what are
we
we?
like, looked at each other. We're like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on? Like, we weren't expecting that.
Well, Cillian Murphy's kind of naked in this too.
Axel with you still?
No.
You get with
This was such a
7-year-old.
late show.
It's gotta
Let's be
get
real.
no-
Let's be
We
real,
were-
Regan.
dude.
This was the dumbest movie like we've ever been to in
What?
terms of the timing. We worked all day, and then the movie was at 9:20 or something like that, and we were up until like 1 o'clock,
Oh my
1:30 for this movie.
gosh.
It was the
Wow, you
dumbest thing
guys.
we've ever done, but it was good.
Sounds
I
like-
will say there is one actor I
Yeah.
do want to point out
Jamie.
that I don't think anybody would realize, but I realized it because this movie was a big
Oh, yeah.
movie growing
No
up
hard
for me.
feelings.
Is Michael Angarano, who played he played in Sky High
Yeah.
as
I
Will
loved-
Stronghold.
Oh my god.
I didn't even know.
He was
what-
in there.
I
He was in
forgot-
there for a
didn't
little
even
bit.
know
And I
he
was like, I know that guy. I know that guy.
Where-
That
I-
guy's from
I
freaking
just
Sky
saw that. I
High.
don't remember seeing him. But
Yeah, it was for a brief moment, and I was like, I know that guy. I know that guy.
I remember him from Forbidden Kingdom, starring Jackie
Forbidden
Chan
Kingdom.
and Jet Li.
Oh yeah.
The first ever time Jackie Chan and Jet Li came together and made a movie. Oh, it
Me
was a
too,
great
remember that.
moment. It was a freaking moment.
I remember you loved watching that movie. You were
It was like one of
obsessed
so
my
with that.
first. No, it might have been my first DVDs I ever bought. I think it was actually.
Yeah.
I think it was the first DVD I ever bought. Chicken Little
Mm-hmm.
was the very first DVD I ever owned. Yeah,
What?
Same with the Isaac said that. Isaac said same with the new J Law movie.
no hard feelings.
Awkward J Law.
That
That
booby
that one
moment.
has gotta
Freaking
have.
caught me off.
Yeah, booby movies in it.
J-Lo?
Booby dooby doobies.
Yeah, one of those ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but this whole movie was
They are?
star studded.
and that's why
um,
we went to see the movies for the movies.
Yes, we knew about it going into it.
Mm-hmm.
They also had Alex Wolff. He was the guy who played in Hereditary. He was also in Jumanji. He was in the movie
Mm.
Old. Man, like
Oh, I do like
I-
Alec Wolf. Yeah.
I literally was telling Regan, I don't know how these guys are going to get paid because there's like 40 to 50 actors that are some
Mhm.
big name actors that I don't know how you share the wealth for this movie unless it just continues to blow off the shelves. But I think we can notably talk about 2 to 3 actors that were really the biggest pieces to the show. And I think it comes down to Emily Blunt,
Ayo.
Robert Downey Jr.,
Yeah.
as Louis Strauss and Cecilian Murphy. And let me tell you what,
I think it's
those
pronounced
three-
Killian.
I don't know what it is, to be honest with you.
I had to look it up. It is Killian.
Is it Killian?
Yeah.
Sorry, Killian. I just butchered your name.
Yeah,
We
it's
got
just- yeah.
Killian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., and Emily Blunt. Let's just talk about Emily Blunt here for a second. Emily Blunt, she plays Kitty Oppenheimer. She is Oppenheimer's second wife, right? Because
No, I think it's his first wife.
Florence Pugh was married to him, and then they had a divorce. I think
No, I don't. I think he.
they
I
said
love
it was
Florence
his
Pugh,
ex.
how old?
It was his ex-wife or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. But wife boothing something. And let me tell you what, she freaking killed this role as her husband is a playboy billionaire genius, just like Tony Stark was. But this guy he's very smart, very like, hey, how can I help the world? Thinking beyond. It was a joke, Regan. Understand the joke.
No,
It
I'm
was just a
reading
joke.
Isaac's message. Matthew's wrong again, like itineraries.
Matthew's wrong again, like itineraries. Thank you. You have an itinerary when you go to the Boundary Waters, Isaac. It happens. But she plays the role as kind of the side piece, or basically the wife of Oppenheimer, Emily Blunt. And we really see her kind of expand the character, and we see her emotion of kind of being the wife, noticing that her husband's really getting yanked around the entire time, right? Like he's being pulled from the government, he's being pulled from the military and the science, from from him having connections to communism. Um, and I just think that she depicted what you would expect a stressed, upset wife would be,
Mhm.
who's at home with her child all the time, trying to figure out how to operate the world. Plus the stress of what silly Cillian Murphy has to go through as Oppenheimer. And so I think for me, she gets a 5 out of 5. Personally, with her performance and her depiction, I really
Mhm.
liked it. I definitely sold me on the fact of the pain. I need to watch this movie. Frick. Sorry, Isaac. It sucks for you. Sucks for you, man.
Sucks as
Yeah,
fuck.
Oppenheimer dies at the end of the movie. So sorry you missed that.
Oh gosh,
Um,
I can't believe you.
I just ruined it for him. And yeah, so she killed it, man. And so I'm gonna give that a 5 out of 5, for sure. Regan, what's your thoughts after seeing the movie?
No, I think after this, I mean, there's very little that I can say that was wrong with this. And then, but like the only thing I could say that would be wrong is just to follow. Like it was kind of harder to follow, to kind of understand what's going on. Like there's a political thing in here that you're like at the very end with Robert Downey Jr. and you're like, what the heck is going on? And maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand it, or maybe I just was completely baffled, or maybe you need to know a little bit more about historically what was going on. But it was
You're
kind of
smart
like,
enough dramaticizing.
I think
Yeah.
that's like the director, also like the person who made the movie, like that's his style of movies. Like he likes because he made
Batman.
Inception.
and the
Let's just
the
pull
one
up
with
in
like the
list
books
of-
coming out, like
Oh,
with Matthew McConaughey,
Interstellar.
Interstellar.
But
It's really
I mean,
complicated movies, and like
he does, and I think
Dunkirk.
he is such a great. I love Christopher Nolan. I think he's a great director. He does a fantastic job of. I mean, those movies are like his main.
Insomnia, Prestige.
Yeah, like he is I don't know. I love Christopher Nolan and the movies he's done. I mean, there's barely any movies that he hasn't failed at. Like, because he's done.
Justice League.
No,
Justice League sucked.
he didn't do Justice
Batman
League.
barely.
versus Superman sucked.
He said barely. Okay, that
Batman
doesn't-
versus Superman. He did Man of Steel. You think Man of Steel sucked?
Did I say Man of Steel?
In Justice
Regan,
League, he
you
had to
like
come
Batman,
in.
and
He had to
you like
come in
Superman
after
way
Zack
too much.
Snyder was directing it, and then
Oh,
have to
shut
recommit
up.
a whole thing. Batman versus Superman wasn't all.
He is a
it wasn't
legend.
that bad.
He is a legend. I'm not saying he isn't a legend,
versus
but he
Superman
also
was pretty bad.
he had some highs and he had some lows. Let's just be real. He had some highs. He had some lows. Some real lows.
Please, but
I haven't watched.
I don't
Batman
think
versus
very-
Superman since the movie theater that it came out in 2016.
It's not that bad, dude.
It's
pretty bad.
horrible.
What was so
was
bad
pretty
about
Thank
it?
you, Sarah.
They're-
What was so good about it? I don't even.
The
Wha-
fighting
Oh, I can't
scenes,
wait for
Henry
this.
Cavill is a whole new perspective
fighting
of Lex
scenes were just,
Luthor,
like-
bringing back what's his face, General Zod. It's a prequel to kind of Aquaman, and then to
Did you say General Zod?
yeah.
That was one of your
and then
favorite
the
parts of the
fighting
movie?
No, my favorite probably parts was when Batman had to fight all the like that. He came in and like with all in the building and it was filled with bad guys, and he comes in and just wrecks those guys. Dunkirk was
He's got
crazy.
a simpleton
It was
mind, Sierra. He's got a simpleton mind.
Yeah, I'm.
He
Just,
probably
I'm very
doesn't like
angry.
Inception because it's too hard to follow.
no, I loved Inception. Dunkirk is a crazy movie. He did that in one
Oh,
shot.
Dunkirk
It was only
amazing.
one shot. He didn't, it was
very
had
few.
that
It
was-
wasn't one shot. It was just very
pretty
few.
much one shot.
Did he do 1917? Because that was a good movie.
I don't think he did that one.
That was a good movie. Let me
I thought
tell
that
you
was
what.
around the same time as Dunkirk.
I thought it might have been. So yeah, Christopher Nolan, he killed it in this movie. He's had some highs and he's had some lows. We all know that with Batman v Superman and Justice League. We're not trying to put a nail in the coffin or anything with him,
But he's had really good
um,
movies too.
he's had some really good movies too.
that thing that just doesn't even make us think of Christopher Nolan.
What up, Willie's Pub 4? What up?
What up, my guy?
I don't know who you are, but welcome
Willie's
to the freaking
Pub.
channel.
I can't wait to try your pub.
Oh no! So Isaac's
Ooh.
saying that Dunkirk was a one shot in the sense that it didn't cut shots; it maintained a singular point of view. So meaning it just stayed in one point of view the entire time. So they probably like did one shot, they kept the camera there, and then they redid the shot and then moved the shot somewhere.
Oh, I get you.
Maybe.
So only one point of view. It wasn't
I thought
like,
there
okay,
was.
yeah, yeah.
It might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, so they don't
don't
do
know.
like what most
That makes
movies do,
sense.
where they face this person
And,
and
then
then
move
they're
it
having
to-
dialogue for the other person. They have a camera here.
Right.
They just
Right.
had the camera here this entire time for the whole movie.
Yeah.
One camera
Okay.
only. Yeah. So yeah, Emily Blunt killed it. I think we all can agree with that. She's been absolutely
She's just always
murdering the
amazing.
scene.
Yeah.
She's been murdering the scene ever since,
Beautiful.
for me anyway, was A Quiet Place 1. That was the first time I ever watched a movie with her in it. And then she was in Jungle Cruise where she killed it there, and I'm sure she's had some other stuff that has been really good too. But the next individual that we want to chat about, which I think Regan and I are pretty excited to talk about, is Robert Downey Jr.,
Ooh, baby.
the man, the myth, the legend, our Tony Stark.
You
Our
can
Tony Stark.
really tell that Regan likes him because of his facial hair. I think.
Yes.
I think really gives it away.
Yep. If you look at his facial hair, he looks at Tony Stark and he takes a picture and he tries to match up his facial hair
I-
just like he did in Iron Man.
I have a picture of Iron Man on my mirror. And I'm like, oh golly.
Yep.
Son of a no.
He's
I-
the goat.
He literally
No,
picks at his hair all day. He's like,
real,
I'm so upset.
real quick, I'm actually thinking of 1917 because
Yeah, that's one whole shot.
yeah, I think the both of those are. I think is what they're talking about is take to appear as a one shot movie. Anyways, but sorry to cut in about Robert RDJ.
Mm.
Don't even, Isaac. Get out of here.
Get out of here. So Robert Downey Jr. plays Louis Strauss, who is he is a businessman. He's a philanthropist. He was a naval officer. He
Amazing.
served some terms in the Atomic Energy Commission, the AEC, and he was second in chairman. He hated Oppenheimer during the movie for really three reasons. First off, they had vastly different political views, obviously, right? Oppenheimer led more towards communism at the beginning, and that's what he was. That's the whole movie in terms of the political side of it, what it was
Yep.
based off of. They both had different beliefs in regards to nuclear weapons and general policy. And so essentially we get this depiction of like three different eras, if you will, or three different scenes, right? We have the scenes where Oppenheimer's in the process of the timeline where he's developing and building the atomic bomb. Then we have the post-atomic bomb where we've got Strauss, who's basically I don't know what the word is. I think he might have sued Oppenheimer or something. I don't know. But basically he was speaking to the Supreme Court about Oppenheimer and he was opposing what he did, things like that. And then we have another scene where it was consistent throughout the movie is we see the interrogation of Oppenheimer and his beliefs. And so RDJ throughout this movie, I mean, I don't know if we're going to say anything less than a 5 out of 5, but this, like, RDJ was a 5 out of 5, no doubt.
100%, yeah.
There's there's nothing we could say about the character, about his portrayal, other than he just killed it. I didn't even think about him as Tony Stark, which is kind of weird.
I mean, it
Wow.
is weird to see him. I mean, this is why after Marvel, what was it? Doolittle came out, but that was that was the next movie he did after Avengers. And now it's
Yeah, that's
this.
gotta
I
be hard
believe
to get
that's
out of.
oh wait, but it sounds like he's doing Sherlock Holmes. Looks like he's doing Sherlock Holmes 3.
Another one?
And he might I
Oh,
don't know,
wow.
but I mean, we can talk today about him being Iron Man, but he truly is a one of a kind actor, kind of like a Johnny Depp type actor that he can kind of. I won't even say Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp isn't. I don't think he's even that good, Johnny Depp. But like Robert Downey
Wow.
He
Jr.
could just
can
jump in a
really.
lot of different
Controversial.
roles.
He really can. You know what? Actually, you know what? Johnny Depp is no, never mind. I'm thinking of all the roles that Johnny Depp has played, and he is actually Johnny Depp is fantastic.
Mhm.
I take that back. But Robert Downey Jr. is like, yeah, he is a one of a kind actors that you don't get anywhere else. That he can really dive into a character and really believe that who he is. It's kind of like the Shia LaBeoufs, and just fully own who he is, while being a pretty much a fantastic person outside of acting too. So
Well, formerly he wasn't as fantastic, but
no, but
agreed.
I mean, I think, but I
he's
think
got some redemption.
he had to redeem himself, and I think he's turned himself around from that, and
For sure.
I thank the Lord for that because he's done some fantastic work. And I think Christopher Nolan says that he is the perfect Iron Man. I think he said, I believe Christopher Nolan flat out said that he is basically meant for Iron Man. Sierra, would you agree?
Oh, 100%.
Um,
Robert Downey Jr. is meant for anything.
I mean, did you?
What I
mean,
think, my thing is like you think of Daniel Radcliffe, and what do
Yeah.
you think about? You think about Harry Potter,
Right.
right? You think of Chris Evans, or not Chris Evans. Yeah, you could say Chris Evans, but Chris Hemsworth. You think Thor, right?
Right.
And for Robert Downey Jr. for a long time, you thought Iron Man. This movie made me not even think about Iron Man whatsoever.
Yeah,
It
that's
made
hard
me-
to do.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed because after the movie, I was like, I forgot that was Robert Downey Jr. Even though
Same.
I know it was Robert Downey Jr., but you're just like, it didn't matter anything about what he did before. Who, I mean, he completely masked his other characters that he's played in this movie, and it was really, really cool because it's like when you watch these movies, like for an example, in Barbie, John Cena was in the movie. And by the way,
Right.
John Cena was hilarious, but it was John Cena, right? It was John Cena
Right.
playing John Cena, basically. And he's like that in almost everything he plays. And we haven't really seen much outside of that. We've been given RDJ as Tony Stark for 15 years. And now we see a different light that we're like, oh, crap. I expect Tony Stark. This is something completely different. And this guy's a true professional. Like, he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
And it was believable. And I thought that was really, really intriguing, personally.
Question for you guys that have seen Oppenheimer, because Nate and I watched a little bit of he watched the documentary, and I sometimes would watch it. I would
Mhm.
check in a little bit.
Yeah.
Was Albert Einstein in the movie?
Yeah.
He was.
Who played Albert
Well,
Einstein?
not the real Albert Einstein. No.
Ah, nuts!
Someone played as Albert Einstein.
Ah, man.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thought it was the Batman versus Superman thing.
No, you're fine.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
No.
who played Albert Einstein?
I believe it was
nobody that you
Tom
know?
Conti. He didn't like it. Didn't
What?
ew. Tom Conti.
Who? He put a T in there. He put
Tom Conti.
It's Conti.
Tom Conti. Satirimatic.
You want me to? What do you want me to do with the
Satirimatic.
T, Sierra? You want me to not pronounce it? He has a T in there for a
No,
reason.
I didn't know that you said Tom Conti and then you said Tom Connie. So
Well, I don't know. Maybe you guys made fun of me before for speaking. Oh,
Now you're gonna
listen to
delete
Regan.
letters?
Listen to him read.
Regent Dvorak.
Regan.
Regent Dvorak.
Yeah, I did. Freaking killed it.
He does this.
Dolovorak.
He like adds like letters, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Gosh, come on, dude. Come
Screw you
on.
guys. I freaking hate you
Oppenheimer.
guys.
Oppenheimer.
He was in
Oppenheimer."
the Dark Knight. What did he
Yeah,
play?
he's the one that did the Heath Ledger one.
What did
but
he
yeah,
do
so
though?
we
He's
got to
a
get
prisoner
because we are freaking running a little not
Please.
behind, but we're watching talking about two things.
Sorry.
The last person that we want to talk about, freaking Sicilian Murphy, as Regan would say, Sicilian
Killian.
Murphy,
It's Killian.
Killian Murphy. 5 out of 5. 5 out
Yeah.
of 5 easily. I haven't seen much of this guy, to be honest with you, in movies. I know he
he's just
plays
a
in
creepy
Peaky
dude.
Blinder. He does look like
Yeah.
a creepy dude. He plays in Peaky Blinders, which I haven't
Yeah.
seen, which now I'm kind of curious to see. So if you guys have any thoughts about Peaky Blinders,
Let us know.
put your comments down, because
Blinders.
from my understanding, it's like a gang in New York or back in the day or
Back
something.
in the day,
He
yeah,
was
like the
gang
20s,
leader.
1920s or something like that.
Yeah. So
Or the
I'm really intrigued with that.
1900s.
But this guy, like,
Or later.
we talk about RDJ and his ability to really take command of his character. This guy topped RDJ by like tenfold in this movie. In my opinion, this guy embodied what Oppenheimer was, and you really, like, for me, I didn't even know who Oppenheimer was, but I was deep down, I'm like, this guy was a messed up dude, and I feel bad for this guy. And this guy's just an actor who's portraying the pain and the suffering and the moral, ethical dilemma that Oppenheimer had to face by creating an atomic bomb, right? And you really feel that in this movie. And I was watching this interview with him, and I had seen this guy in some other stuff, and he didn't look as skinny, but in this movie, he was so skinny. He fit the role, and come to find out, this guy would eat 1 peanut a day for 30 days, and that's all he would eat to get his body slimmed down, to have
What?
like his skin to be tightened up, and like when you watch this
What?
movie, you're like, this guy needs to eat a freaking hamburger type thing, in my
Gosh.
opinion.
Wow.
I think
This is all my opinion.
Wow.
I get what is your opinion, but it just doesn't look like he ate a peanut a day. It just looks like it's his normal self. If you look at pictures of him, you would
Cillian Murphy eats
in like Disco Pig, it was 2001, or it's just, or Peaky Blinders. It just,
Oh, sorry. He ate 1 almond a day for Oppenheimer.
yeah. But like the thing is, he
What?
still looks
Plus
like
other things, but at least there was an almond
I-
every day.
I
No,
guess
he would eat 1. Yeah.
But my thing is, like, if he ate normal, or what he was doing normally to the peanut, I don't think you would ever see any difference. Because maybe he did do that. I don't know what he actually did. It just doesn't look like he really did anything different compared to
think-
pictures.
I think you're off, dude. I think you need to go back and look.
I'm looking at Peaky Blinders right now, and here, I'm going to share it.
I've got my screen. I can show you my screen if
Yeah,
you'd like.
you do it. You're the host.
Screen. Entire screen. Boom. Okay. So here he is normal.
Hang on, it's loading.
You cannot tell me that there's no difference here.
Oh yeah, for sure a difference.
So this is him in the movie. This is him normal.
Now
You
that's I
cannot
don't-
tell me.
I don't really see a difference.
Look at
I
his-
mean, I don't know. I
Are
don't
you
think you
kidding
have
me?
to, because that could still be like the thing that I get what you're saying, but like that could be a picture of him, what he looks like a recent picture of him.
Okay, I can click on
So
this
go
one, and
to
it's still
that.
the
I think
same.
that's like a
Or this
Peaky
one.
Blinder
He
one.
looks healthy. In this, he does not look healthy, dude.
I don't know.
Look at
about
that. He looks
He
healthy.
I think the biggest thing is you look at his neck. He's got
Look at his.
this like on the right or whatever. When on the right, it looks like he has a neck that supports his head. On the left, it's questionable.
Let me
There we
see
go.
it.
There we go.
It's questionable. Look at the neck.
It is. But if you look at it, did you know that
Yeah,
Also,
Killian
I don't know
Murphy
if that's-
only
also does
ate an
not do
almond
any-
a day?
Killian also does not do any like media or social media or anything like internet stuff. Like he doesn't.
He doesn't
do
have
media.
Twitter or Instagram or anything.
Yeah, anything.
He's like,
I
I'm too old for that
apologize.
stuff.
I am kind of an old lady and have to get to bed.
You're good.
So,
We'll be wrapping
Thanks,
this up.
Sierra, for joining us.
Hey, anytime.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be dropping Sierra's Instagram and her following. Go and leave her a follower and tell her that the Goof and Goober Show says hi. Yeah, it should be fun.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
We'll wrap it up here
Thanks for
really
having
quick
me.
here so that way you can get going. But overall, my quick little rating for Oppenheimer, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5, personally. Because I like Lord of the Rings and I like the extended version, I was gonna say that the time was gonna knock off some things, knock off some points, but if I do for one and not the other, then there's problems with my decision making. I like it long episodes and movies in Lord of the Rings. I liked it in this movie. I just had to not do it at 9:00. So 5 out of 5 for me personally. I would definitely go see it if I were you. It is a mind bender. It is a story that you have to pay attention to. You will be locked into the movie, and there are times where you realize the weight of the world and what happened back in 1942. Man, it was an eye opener. And what's your rating?
For me, I give this. I mean, there's nothing really I can complain about. I give it a 5 because it really makes you think too. Because it made me think more about particles and really atoms and everything that's just holding us together. I was telling Matthew about this weekend. It's just kind of amazing about that we as humans are just held together by something. And believe, I believe it's God, believe whatever, but you have to admit there's something that is truly holding us together into all these atoms, into something. And so it's just amazing, what this kind of breaks that like atoms down because it's, the atom bomb is basically cutting up atoms and then just, using it as a weapon. And it kind of just made me really think about that. So I think for me, closing thoughts is, there's something out there that's, bigger than me and you, that's holding us all together, that's holding this universe together. And I truly believe that's Jesus Christ. And, not to go like all serious on us, but anything, but, that's just what I want to say.
It does open that door.
It does.
It's
It really
crazy. It's hard to believe that nothing created something,
does. That's true.
and it's hard to believe that, you can be created perfectly without a creator. So it's for you guys to decide. If you enjoyed the show, leave your comments down below. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Watch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave us some comments, some reviews. Communicate with us. Let us know what we're doing well, what we're not doing well. We really want some feedback. But other than that, that concludes our show. Have a freaking great week. Thank you for joining us for freaking Barbenheimer. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Double G Show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel at the Goof and Goober Show. And why don't you check out our Instagram? page at the Goof and Goober Show for even more content and drop a follow. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.